Hi guys, it's Joe here from Barclays, here to talk about everybody's favourite thing, biggest fear, public speaking and presentations. Alright guys, the easiest way for me to explain to you about presentations is presenting to you. So what I'm going to do is pretend there's a room full of people right here. I've got someone up the front, they're about to invite me to speak. They're up there saying, alright guys, now Joe's going to talk to you about blah blah blah, and I get up and go to get ready. So what I do at first is I go right where I don't want to be, right front and center. When we're presenting, our instinct is to cower in the corner. It's a terrible idea. It's going to make us feel really nervous. We want to go front and center, and I'm doing a lot with my posture here. I've got my shoulders back, my core engaged, I'm in a power position. The reason I'm doing this is a little bit of fake it till you make it. When you sit in a power position, when you sit in a strong position, your body releases serotonin, which is your confidence, your feel good hormone. And that's going to help you to be confident even when you're not at the start. So it's important to get right in the middle, gain the attention of the audience and be nice and strong. So the other thing I'm doing when I get out to the middle of the room is I'm using a little bit of energy. I'm going to move around. That movement does a few things. It draws the attention of the crowd. It also allows me to use up nervous energy. A lot of us get nervous during these presentations, and if we're not using up that energy, it's like a bucket that fills up. Once that bucket gets full and starts to overflow, we have an adrenaline dump, our prefrontal cortex shuts down, all of our executive functions stop. So we need to avoid that. And for me, a really good way is to move around and express what I'm doing. Owning a presentation is a very important principle of public speaking. We need to understand what ownership is and why it matters. When I'm up here talking, a presentation is very much one way. I'm providing information to the crowd. And that's how the crowd feels. So it's important to understand that that is in existence, and the only way I can get the crowd to actually engage with me is through verbal and non-verbal communication. So it's not enough to just stand up here and ask a question. I also have to invite the crowd into answering that question. Who's got an idea about this? Little head nods. This head nod is also backed up when the individual is talking back to us, giving us an explanation of something. Oh yeah, okay, interesting. I'm making the person feel as they're part of that two-way conversation. Another important element of public speaking and communication is eye contact. Now, we've all been told to scan the room when we're doing a presentation. It's pretty common knowledge. It becomes very hard if I'm standing in one space, looking at something up at the board, and then looking back at the two same people. Up, back, back. It becomes very repetitive, and I'm not engaging the whole crowd. So we've got to pull back to our initial principle of movement. We've got to move around a little bit, get the crowd's attention, allow myself to engage with different individuals so that they all feel that they're part of the conversation. You'll also notice while I'm doing this, I'm doing a lot of hand gestures. Hand gestures are great. They're a tool that you can use all the time. They're good for a few things. They're good for attracting attention to certain things. They're also good for pulling attention away from yourself. So if I'm up here and I'm feeling a little bit nervous, I might pull up a new slide and point to this picture and go, all right guys, what can you see here? Now I've moved right out of the way. I've moved shoulder to shoulder with the individuals I'm presenting with. I'm no longer in the limelight. It gives me about half a second or so to take a breath and feel a little bit more calm in what I'm doing. We've spoken about a lot of elements of body language, shoulders back, moving around, all of that sort of stuff. Now we're going to get into some of the voice elements. Let's start with volume. Volume is critical. There's nothing worse than being up here presenting something, reading out about operations, safety, and then someone yells out from the back, what are you saying? And you got to start again. Also, people are going to lose it. They're not going to be engaged anymore. You're going to lose their attention throughout that discussion. So a really easy way to be on top of that is if you're presenting without any microphone or anything like that, pick someone in the back of the room and speak to them continuously. Always talking to the individual at the back. Even if I'm getting close to someone who's sitting down and we're having a discussion, I need to keep my voice raised so I don't lose those people. If I am using a microphone, really simple principle, hold your microphone up with your thumb there. You know you're probably about a good distance. Lock your arm in a bit so you don't get that old, oh, what were they saying? So let's talk about pace. Pace, pace, pace. We're always told, slow it down, speak clearly. Now I'm a fast talker and I struggle with this. So let's talk about ways that we can slow ourselves down and how we can recover when we make mistakes, because we're going to make mistakes. First of all, to slow down, I like to speak to a bit of a rhythm. So I may move around a little bit as I talk, which helps me. So I could be talking to safety, production, radio channels. I slow it down. It's perfectly fine to slow down your discussions. No one's going to think anything of it. You own the interaction. The problem is if we're talking really quickly, safety, production, radio channels, if I make a mistake, I've got such a small window of time to feel like I can recover in. So the more we slow it down, the easier we get on top of it. Now let's talk about what happens when you make mistakes. We're going to make them. I've got 3 levels of messing up, all right? And this is what I've lived by for a little while. I'm up here presenting to people and I lose focus on what I was talking about. Level 1 of messing up. The first thing I do is I acknowledge it. Okay guys, I've lost my place. Bear with me. I'll take a breath. I may invite the crowd to take a breath, as ridiculous as it sounds. Giving myself time. And it's okay because I own the interaction. Second level of messing up. I've already taken a breath, still not knowing what I was talking about. And this happens to me frequently. I'm going to start crowdsourcing. All right, who knows what I was talking about? Guys, come on, I can't remember. Start to engage with the crowd and I get, Joe, you were talking about this. No, it's not that one. Let's keep going. You were talking about this. No, that's not it. Inevitably you get the individual at the back of the room. Joe, you were talking and everyone has a bit of a laugh and it brings the tone down a bit and it's not a bad thing. Level 3 of messing up. I've gone through my breathing. I've crowdsourced. I've done everything I think I can do and I still can't get back on track. I own the interaction. Well, I'm going to have to skip this slide because I can't remember where I was at. I'll skip forward and if I get to a point where I remember what I was going to talk about, it's okay, I can move back. I'm in charge of this thing. Now we're going to apply some of the principles we've learned to a boardroom setting. We've all had the situation where we're going around the table waiting for everyone to speak. And you'll see before everyone's turn, they start to get nervous. People will be tapping their fingers, moving their feet. If you're in the swivel chair, you're doing some of these. Everyone's getting nervous and we want to overcome that. We want to be confident in our speech. Let's apply our principles. First of all, sit up straight, nice and tall. Let's get that serotonin flowing. Fake it till you make it, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to write down some very brief points about the things we're going to speak about. Maybe it's one word, maybe it's a few words, but it's definitely not going to be paragraphs. Once we've written that down, we're going to close our book, okay? We don't want to be reading, reviewing, and re-reviewing and making ourselves confused and nervous before we speak. We want to be ready, we're going to sit back confidently, and we're going to politely listen to everyone else and actually be part of the conversation. Trust me, when it comes to your time, you'll open your book back up and those prompts will definitely help you to remember where you're at. So if you're interested to see any other videos, I've got one here and you can also subscribe to Barclays here.